Zach, you ever have a meal that like you made something delicious like 3 days ago and you forgot about it and then you rediscover this moment of rediscovery of this delicious thing in your fridge?
Yes, many times.
I cooked some truly fantastic steaks like 2 days ago and completely forgot that I had one left over. And I had like perhaps the most delicious dinner ever made. Also, we're recording.
Oh,
Hi, welcome everyone. Uh,
Zach's here. Also, Captain Time's here.
hey.
I am echoing through somebody's mic, but that may be because of my enthusiasm more than their
yeah,
mic setup.
I don't know if it's me or not. I have noise suppression on this time, which I forgot
Perfect.
previously.
That's why people
I
come to this channel. It is for logistical problem solving.
Yes.
Tech debugging. Please
Yeah.
stand by. That
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Welcome to Westeros Tech Tips.
Captain Time, confirming you can see my screen right now. If I
I can
do,
see your
if I
screen right
do
now.
one of these, if I
I
draw,
see an 8.
if I draw an amogus, shoop,
Yeah, I see an Amogus. That is.
give me a little,
I
one
see
of
it.
the, there we go. Uh,
A woo.
Zach, would you
Oh
like to
no.
explain to the fine folks at home how this game works while
Yeah.
while I type out your first clue?
So, as we sometimes call it, deal me a card, or the Song of Ice and Fire theory guessing game, or many other things we've called it, and the rules we've totally explained consistently the whole time through, is that Tom has a theory for me right now. He is going to give me evidence for that theory, and Captain Time and I are going to look at that piece of evidence and start talking about things we know about A Song of Ice and Fire, related media, things that are thematically similar, until we hear ding come from Tom's lips. And that means that we
Don't
have
put
found
so
another
much
hint
sauce
that
on the
is
word lips.
I guess it did.
Why'd you put so
But
much sauce on it?
I don't know why. I
You
should
know,
have put the
you
sauce on
two.
ding. It was just a little bit of the wrong emphasis there.
I'll leave you two to figure that out later.
That's a good one. Until we have gotten to the point where we either think we can guess the theory or are completely stumped, having exhausted all of Tom's evidence. If at any point we are stumped and we haven't exhausted all of Tom's evidence, we can ask him to deal us a card where he gives us a random piece of evidence to try and guide us closer to where the theory is going.
And I have your first quote here. Please become center aligned. Boop, 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 making sure that looks good on the record. Give it a little scooch like that. Perfect. Boop.
It's
Gold.
gold, though.
Yeah, please.
If it's gold, it should be just as good as them other dragons, my lord. Cretan, aye, it's gold. Rebels gold.
Anyone off the top of their head know where this is from?
Um, Rebels Gold.
This is a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of a
Like it's a
deep cut.
Dunkin' egg, isn't it?
It is a Dunkin' egg. Yeah. This is from the third Dunkin' egg book. This is Will and Uthor in the Mystery Night.
Okay.
It goes on to say, quote, "Traitor's gold. It's treasonous to own such a coin and twice as treasonous to pass it. I'll need to have this melted down. Get out of my sight. This good knight and I have matters to discuss." And that's your starting point.
The theory. Um. Hmm.
So you and Zach sort of bat ideas back and forth, and
Yeah, I'm
because
trying to figure
I
out.
don't with three people in the call, I no longer need to fill space with riffing, so I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna relax.
Crack open a beer.
Yeah. Crack open a juice beverage.
Juice beverage, correct. Hops juice. But yeah.
How dare you
what are,
reference
like,
Zootopia to me?
Theories about Duncan Egg, Mystery Night.
Well, this is very like Blackfire centric, right? This is like
Yeah,
House Blackfire is the whole like thrust. The whole Bunk and Egg novellas are like in the aftermath of the first Blackfire Rebellion, and the political situation is still not completely like resolved. Dunk and Egg talk about this in the first novel. There's a lot of lords sitting around who backed the wrong horse, but are still like lords of the Seven Kingdoms. And the second Blackfire Rebellion, which is not really all that much of a rebellion, it's an attempt, it's a conspiracy, takes place during the Mystery Night, where they have a Blackfire running around in a fake identity to try and build up support for another rebellion.
Yeah,
this is the
that
one
sure
with,
is
like,
a ding. Yeah.
the dragon egg.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dragon egg that in the other video we insisted now belong at one point ended up in the possession of Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah. We draw connections from this egg to the possession of Bloodraven to the possession of Euron Greyjoy.
It's not that much of a stretch, really.
Okay.
We know that Bloodraven ends up with this stuff, or presumably is the most likely person to end up with the materials that were part of this conspiracy, because he's one of the people who breaks it up, and we know that he takes things with him when he goes to the wall, and we know that he uh, had another student before Baran who was a not cool guy, and Euron Greyjoy fits that description because he is not a cool guy either.
I agree that Euron was a student of Bloodraven. I'm just not convinced that, like, I think Euron's legit with having been to Valyria because of the Forsaken, and I see no reason that the egg would need to be, like, loosened to be tied. There should be dragon eggs everywhere in Valyria.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, but that said, we don't have many dragon eggs in the story now, and if one's unaccounted for,
we know that this one. We know that that one was there. We know that Bloodraven took it. We know that Euron was in the same room as Bloodraven. That means it's probably either at the Red Keep, or it was at Summer Hall, or it went north of the Wall with Bloodraven.
Yeah, it really depends.
Or Dragonstone, of course.
Yeah, there's a lot of places it could have ended up,
but
it's a little bit of a stretch to say for sure he took it with him, and for sure he brought it to the cave, and for sure Euron took it on his way out. But it's not inconceivable, and that's a lot of where our theories live in.
Yeah.
It could happen, and it would be cool.
Yeah,
we have like the bulk of the theories on this channel.
Yeah, we don't call them fan fiction. We don't do that. However, to bring it back around, that dragon egg is not relevant at all. However, Zach, you did get another ding when you referenced the first Blackfire Rebellion.
It's got to be related to Blackfire somehow. You wouldn't drop a quote like this and not have it be some weird Blackfire theory.
Oh, this is some weird Blackfire stuff.
I enjoy weird Blackfire stuff.
There's a lot of weird Blackfire stuff. I have a feeling this is going to be some neat weird Blackfire stuff.
You ready? You ready for this strange line here? Who wants to give this a read?
The Damon Waters.
Oh yeah. So you know what?
See, it's like the Bruce Dickinson.
It's like the last video we're recording together.
Don't know. We have 2 other videos.
No.
The first Blackfire Rebellion lasted less than a year. Before that, Damon Waters was living in King's Landing. That's true. The man who would be Damon Blackfire was just a dude who lived in King's Landing and was somewhat in tune with local politics. And there was just a dispute. Like, Aegon the Unworthy made sure there were going to be disputes after his death by legitimizing all of his bastards on his deathbed, and by just having too many bastards, because you don't need to have legitimized your bastards to cause succession crises. You just need to have any amount, really. This is why.
They
This is
have
one
to
of the
be
reasons.
politically active, yeah.
Yeah, one of them has to say like, "Hey, this is I've got the king's blood. I might not be, his legit heir, but I'm better than his current heir, so you should back me instead." And that's like totally like a thing that gets brought up throughout the books. That's one of the reasons why Cersei starts having babies killed in the main book series. It's because they're Robert Baratheon's kids, and Joffrey and Tommen and Myrcella aren't, and people know this now, and it's very politically necessary for her to get rid of a good heir for people to coalesce around in case her enemies decide to, like, make some sort of rational play for the throne. Like it's not inconceivable if Renly and Stannis had, more workable diplomatic personalities that they could have found Gendry and said, "Hey, why not this kid? Well, he has just as much of a right to be king as you or I at a certain point. He is Robert's son."
And some argue that might be yet to come.
Yeah, Edric Storm or Gendry or somebody could end up on the
Edric
throne.
Storm, I would think, would be more likely, but
I think he very likely ends up with Storm's End at the end of the books. I think he becomes the new lord of the Stormlands.
Yeah, I feel like that's too easy. I don't think Martin would give us an easy solution like that, but it feels the most intuitive. So because it feels so right, I think it's wrong. If that makes sense.
That we discussed that in a different video earlier.
We
days.
did. We talked about that at length.
Yes. Yeah. This is interesting. All of this, because this is definitely a Blackfire theory, but I'm not quite sure where we're going here. Rebels gold, so presumably there was wealth backing, like in any conflict that breaks out for any extended period of time, even though the first Blackfire Rebellion wasn't that long, but like it led to long-lasting consequences, right? There's the Golden Company that Bittersteel makes that pushes the Blackfire.
I'm wondering if this is somehow
forever.
related to the founding of the Golden Company, but I don't
It's
know.
possible. Well, the Golden Company still exists into like the main novels too, and they even show up to do absolutely nothing in the Bad Dragon show. Yeah, they are.
I'm gonna hop in here and say I hadn't thought about the Golden Company. For the moment, we're gonna say I'll write it down. We'll say
Bittersteel after the first Blackfire Rebellion forms the Golden Company.
Was founded after the first Blackfire Rebellion. Rebellion by Bittersteel. I'm gonna say for the moment that is thematically connected, not texturally connected. However, we could have a conversation about it.
Curious.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Probably doesn't have to do with the sword Blackfire then either.
What? There are no sword dings in this puzzle.
Yeah, so it's what other tenets to the Blackfire Rebellion are there? There's the loyalties. It's probably something along that. There's the sword. There's the genetics, and then there's the Golden Company. And it's not the Golden Company, the sword. And the second quote is about his bastard status, so maybe it's about genetics. I feel like it's about loyalties. I feel like this theory has to do something with like, I don't know, some hidden traitor or player in a side switch or traitor. I really don't know.
Interesting. Interesting. Hidden player, yes. I would advise against barking up that tree too hard because my answer is yes, but in kind of an abstract way.
Okay.
This is interesting because
It doesn't have to
there's
do with them like something with dragons then, because we already said no to the dragon egg stuff.
the future Blackfire rebellions after the second one is the only one where the outside of the Ironwood support the fourth Blackfire rebellion, and the only house that I'm aware of to do so. I don't think there's any evidence of any houses of Westeros supporting the third Blackfire rebellion, and there are no people in Westeros backing Maelys the Monstrous during the War of the Nine Penny Kings. So outside of one anomaly, the second Blackfire Rebellion is the only time post the first Blackfire Rebellion that there was any sort of internal support for a Blackfire taking over Westeros. Is that an important thing to think about?
I have nothing on this. I have nothing on my sheet about the third, fourth, or fifth Blackfire rebellions.
Interesting.
That there was like a hidden Blackfire rebellion we don't know about? Is it some weird? How weird is this theory? Is
Well,
it that there was a 1.5 Blackfire rebellion?
um,
Blackfires secretly have hatched a dragon.
am I calling that? Am I calling that a ding? It's an abstract ding if I call it.
It's like Lion King 1.5.
I'll go ahead. You know what? Fuck it.
There was another planned attempt besides the one we see that's called the second Blackfire one. There's
No.
another like plot.
No,
maybe?
no. Many people suspect young Griff of being a Blackfire.
Oh yeah, the sixth Blackfire rebellion.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's another one that hasn't happened yet. That's true. It's just because the book hasn't come out yet. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Young Griff. There's a lot of evidence he could be a Blackfire.
It's well, you saw the new If He's for Crow pushing library stuff. Like it's even more.
Yeah.
That changed my mind.
It's pretty obvious
to
now.
be a Targaryen, but after reading that stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, let's just stop being.
I've not read this yet, but I already this was Young Griff as a Blackfire is one of my like I will like eat a book if it's wrong like theories. It's up there in the top tier of basically confirmed for me because it's so thematically neat that like that grudge match that is now way too old is still alive and kicking in some regard. That something that had already, the dispute between two Targaryens who are the children of Aegon the Unworthy still has political ramifications in the age of, Tommen Baratheon is neat.
It's very neat that like this war-torn continent that's about to face like a climate apocalypse is going to be ravaged by this guy coming along like, oh yeah, my ancestor was barely slighted a few hundred years ago. I'm here for my birthright, and everyone's gonna be like rolling their eyes as they all die.
Yeah, they're like,
it's a very George R. R. Martin thing.
Yes.
They're just like, at this point, you know what? Have the throne. Don't care.
Take it. I need to get the corn before it freezes.
104 years ago, somebody who I am distantly related to claimed the throne, and I'm here to make good on it. Yeah.
Everyone's just gonna be like, what? But he has a big enough army that it's just a very Martin idea, like the futility of war there. Oh,
it's such a good. It's so good.
And like there are still people like who want to restore the Bonapartes, so it's not like this is an insane like thing. Like people in real life are that stupid.
Well, so I had mentioned all the different tenets of the Blackfire theories, and it could be some genetic one. Does it maybe have to do with young Griff's heritage being like somehow tied more directly to the Blackfire cause than we had thought?
There is no genetics in this theory, no.
Okay, so we can rule out genetics, so that leaves either dragons or loyalties, and it seems to be going down the loyalties line. Mm.
Sometimes,
Very indeed.
when I'm on the giving end of a theory, I turn into Yoda a little bit.
Stupid are you?
So,
theory I have crafted. Many clues
So-
I have laid.
is this a parallel between what happens in the second Blackfire Rebellion and what might happen in the A Song of Ice and Fire books that are yet to be released?
Zach, that is the correct question. This is not a parallel between the second Blackfire Rebellion and something that will happen. This is a parallel between something that happened in the second Blackfire Rebellion and something that already happened.
So this is a Dance with Dragons, a Feast for Crows stuff.
Oh yeah.
So Young
Gold.
Griff has some conspiracy level supporters, right?
Oh, he sure does.
Varys is supporting him. He has Griff, who was once, the hand of the king. He's John Connington. These
friends
are
in the
people who
Reach.
he's got friends in the Reach who we suspect maybe they're the Hightowers, we thought, or maybe they're the Tarleys.
Ding.
It's a friends in the Reach theory.
How am I gonna phrase this? The young. Is it Griff or Young Griff that claims that? I just have "we have friends in the Reach" written down hastily.
Isn't that between Griff and Lamore?
Participants in the Griff plot and Young Griff's plot claim to have friends in the Reach.
I think it's between Griff and Lamore. But I'll pull it up on Search of Ice and Fire real quick.
Yeah, do it.
Let me. Sorry. Dance with Dragons, John Con, Friends in the Reach.
This theory is stupid, but it's real good.
So they have, at least to some extent, the support of Dorne again, because
Laswell Peak, sorry. And then also I think that's John Con that's talking, mentions it as well. But basically, even after a century, some of us still have friends in the Reach. The power of Highgarden might not be what Mace Tyrell imagines.
So it's somebody who is a prominent lord in the Reach might be able to peel off some support from Mace and cause them even more of a headache.
Oh my god!
That's
I'm so excited.
Very likely. It could be the Hightowers, the Florence, although the Florence are pretty much all up at the wall now, so that'd be pointless.
Yeah, it's not the Florence.
It could be who else is there? The Tarleys, but again, he seems to be pretty tied to the hip with
gold.
Mace.
How does the gold help us narrow it down? Because the first clue was like people saying that gold from them is worthless. What Reach house has gotten anything involved with gold recently?
Curious.
He's saying it's a clue. It's a parallel.
Old Town is a trade port, but like we know this from the Cinnamon Wind stopping there to get news and to trade goods. So you could, but we've said Hightower like 5 times, so no dings.
There's no dings in House Hightower, but there may be dings in Old Town.
Oh,
yeah.
The Maesters are in on it.
It's the Maesters.
Or the Faith is in on it.
No,
that's also possible.
No, keep it rolling.
What else is in Old Town?
What else is in Old Town?
Marwyn lives in
Brotherhood Without Banners is going there. Omar Sand is going there.
Wait, hold the phone. I hadn't thought about Marwyn, but we should come back to him in additional tinfoil. That could be fun.
It should note that we believe that Marwyn might have Targaryen ancestry. That's something a very early piece of our channel.
You know why not?
I mean, he's got kind of a Targaryen name.
He has a Targaryen style name, and he says there's a reason they couldn't trust Aemon, same reason they couldn't trust me. And the reason he says they couldn't trust Aemon is that he's a Targaryen.
I mean, it kind of tracks.
Confirmed.
Yeah, he basically comes out and says it. Like it was not too much of a stretch. Canon.
Also, Aerion Brightflame had a child named Maegor, and we don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Marwyn Brightflame. Marwyn Brightflame.
What if here's a completely dumb way to do it. you say Alyssa Farman sailed to a shy, and somehow, I don't know. You somehow tie that. This was better in my head. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it doesn't work.
No. Sell it with confidence.
Sailed to a shy and somehow raised like is immortal as Quaith and therefore tutored Marwyn, and because she was in a relationship with Targaryen, she was able to be like, I know you're a real Targaryen, and here's what you got to do to get Dany's dragons.
I love it.
And Quaith is here to just sell out Dany's dragons to Marwyn,
this
who's
is perfect.
the secret Targaryen.
What you're saying is M plus Q equals D.
M plus Q equals D. All right. This is why I don't frequent this channel.
Yeah.
We go down some rabbit holes. We make new theories in the middle of our theory.
Yeah. You got to remember to mark your way down the rabbit hole, or you will not find your way back. So, all right, let's swim back. We were basically we got to follow in the chalk lines. We're Marwyn and a shy. We got Alyssa Farman. No, we're in Old Town. We're back in Old Town.
Well, Alyssa Farman has ties to Old Town, I might add.
She does. Technically,
I can make almost any theory about Alyssa Farman.
Oh my god,
this isn't hard to do.
You should have been on the Alyssa Farman episode.
I should have been. I one of my best theories is about her, so
that's okay. This one's good. This one's still good.
Okay, so it doesn't have to do with like Malora Hightower, does it?
No. So, but again, we can come back and talk about it at the end.
So the two groups that are in, besides the Hightowers that are in Old Town, are the Maesters in the Citadel, and the Faith in the whatever Septon Tower is there also, and there's good reason for the Faith to back young Griff, but the Faith recently had a coup performed. Now, it's sort of said to be organic that the High Sparrow got in the position that he's in, but maybe it's not. Maybe Varys was pulling the strings on that, right? Because they didn't vote for the High Sparrow. His supporters showed up with weapons and said, "Hey, guess who's the High Septon now? You don't get a choice in this." It was a violent.
I hadn't considered that, but it is interesting.
Yeah, and it's like that's one of those things where it could have been a homegrown sort of thing. He did like whip people up in a frenzy because of how bad the war was for the small folk and how poorly the Faith was doing anything for the average person in Westeros.
Yeah.
You can view it as a sort of like peasant revolt, and almost sort of like class struggle, like
I thought it was more of like a historical parallel to like Caesar Augustus, with like walking into the Senate room with all his military and being like, "Yo, I'm in charge now."
Yeah,
I thought it was something very similar with that, where it's like partially a populist rebellion, but also a military general kind of opportunistically taking advantage of a
so there's a populist anger, and somebody sees an opportunity to take charge of it. That's true of both Caesars, actually, and that's neat also because Julius Caesar started in a ceremonial religious position. That was his first like claim to political power. Was Pontius Maximus or something like that, or a Pontifex or something?
Basically.
Yeah, he was their version of the Pope before he.
Well, it's literally the Pope. It's just Rome switched to Christianity, and that's why it's the Pope now instead of, But it's literally the precursor to the Pope.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know
I think they use the same title.
Interesting. Well, that's a history lesson that I got from that. So, technically, you could say Julius Caesar was the Pope, and that's correct.
You can.
No, don't stop on my account. Please continue.
Yeah, let's offend everyone.
I believe Tom said that he did not intend for the High Sparrow to be part of this theory.
Yeah,
but I'm sure Tom is thinking now. He kind of fits.
I could now no, but
okay,
with enough percussive maintenance on the sides of the block, I could make it fit into the round hole. I'm not saying it fits, but I could make it fit.
But what
Curious,
really
very
is
curious.
theory crafting if not just annually cramming dumb ideas into forced narratives?
George, please.
George, please.
Really, it's been how many years?
George, please.
He literally came up with DDT before TWOW came out. Just odd.
Would you guys like a card?
I guess.
Zach, you want a card?
Yeah, deal me a card.
All right. Hang on 1 second. I am rolling a die on my phone. You've gotten a 1. You've gotten a 1. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Gold for iron. The nightingale squawked.
What?
You're not implying friends in the Reach doesn't mean friends who live in the Reach. It means friends who is currently in the Reach. And Euron Greyjoy is working for Young Griff.
No.
Same thing, but the Brotherhood without banners.
No.
Same thing, but Obara Sand.
No, but no, keep going.
Same thing, but Samuel Tarley.
No, keep going.
Who?
Same thing, but Tyene
No,
Sand.
no, keep it going.
The same thing, but Marcella Baratheon.
No, keep it going.
Same thing, but Mace Tyrell, unaware with a split personality.
No. Let's go. I can do this all day.
Doctor
Please.
Tyrell and Mr. Mace.
Doctor.
Yeah. This is a this is a multiple universe theory, and it somehow involves 6H Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings lore that I don't know about.
Oh, wait a second. The Faceless Men are currently in Old Town. We know this from the chapter where Pate is poisoned and replaced with Jack and
I'm sorry, I'm still
probably shocking.
That's a ding, but I'm still stuck on nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish and motherfuckers acting like they forgot about Mace.
My favorite 90s rapper, Mace Tyrell.
I can't breathe.
Still
my
MAC.
God. I love this thing that we do. Oh my god. Oh, why do we do anything else? Oh my god. Okay. Yes. Yes. There is a faceless man. There is a man called the Alchemist.
Yes.
With a similar description.
Ooh, can we bring in a Feast for Crows prologue stuff from Cushing Library? Is that gonna come up at all?
I don't have it right now, but please.
Yeah, go for it.
The prologue, I actually made a little video on it. It wasn't a great video, but covered the Cushing Library stuff on the prologue, which basically there were 3 other versions of the prologue. There was a very short part of one from the perspective of Rosie. It was like a serving girl. Doesn't really tell us as much. There's a long version of basically what we see now with like this whole heist sequence that Pate goes through, and then there's like a really short version. But the long and short versions tell us a few things. There's another throwaway line that streams to confirm the existence of sphinxes. There's a lot more hints on what glass candles actually do, and it's basically blows out of the water all the theories about what Jaqen is doing. Jaqen's just there for a glass candle is what it says. You can tie your soul to a glass candle for immortality. That's probably been dropped. That plot point has probably been dropped, but it's still interesting to know that glass candles at least extend the life in canon somehow.
It sounds like a phylactery almost, like what liches have, right?
Ooh, that's a great
you can
take.
kill a you can kill a lich and he'll just come back unless you destroy his phylactery.
Yeah, that's basically the quote. I don't recall it off the top of my head, but it's like, as long as the fire burns, the heart can never die, or whatever. It was something weird like that. But yeah, Jockin's after a glass candle, and every Archmaester has a glass candle tied to them.
Ooh, interesting.
That's also
Yeah.
that's weirdly the SCP Foundation, because the heads, the 05 of the SCP
O5s.
Foundation, have some odd means of keeping themselves unable to be killed through natural means. Age and disease can't get them. If you want to kill a member of the 05, you have to show up to their house with a bazooka.
And
Have
even that is touchy at best.
Have
No,
you
no, that usually does the job. Technically, you could
you
just shoot him to death too, but
are you familiar with the Ouroboros cycle story?
no, maybe not. Probably not.
To know one proposal about a Chaos Insurgency member who goes to kill all the O5s one by one, and it's a really epic story, and it's amazing, and I highly recommend it.
Oh my god, let's
I
do
should- I
like
should read
let's do
that.
our favorite
And the worst
SCPs on
part-
the second channel, please.
The worst part is I'm an author on the SCP Wiki, and I haven't read that, and it's entirely possible I know and have like a mild friendship with the person who wrote that, and they're going to be very mad for me admitting in a public forum I haven't read it.
I would
it's
listen.
They're
possible.
one of the more prolific authors, as I recall. It's, in my opinion, the best 001 proposal, though it's, I'm sure Scarlet King's more popular. But
Everybody I know likes When Day Breaks.
Daybreaks
But
is classic, and like Guardian Angel is classic, but
yeah,
I love Ouroboros because how good the story is, and basically all the O1s have weird ways of keeping themselves alive, but they all have this weird contract with death that first the hero has to kind of trick death to get out of, so that they can actually go about killing the O5s, and then they each have their own methods of immortality. I think Blackbird's come up in a few of the other canons. He's like
oh,
057, I want to say.
It's a DJ Cactus story. That makes sense. I don't know Cactus super well. We've chatted like once or twice, in like
Okay.
the IRC chat, but not like I doubt he remembers me, which is fine. Yeah, that's why I really haven't read it, because he writes very long, very detailed stories, a lot, often.
Ouroboros is just so good. Like, seriously, it's probably the best thing to come out of that website,
Huh?
in my opinion.
I'll have to give it a read one of these days.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how that's related to this theory at all, unless
I'm not
going
complaining.
down like
I love
unless we're going down some like mythic lane with glass candles, but I highly doubt this theory has to do with glass candles. I think the talk about Trader's Gold has to do with something like a faceless man being hired to kill, or something like, yeah.
The Faceless Man being hired to wipe out the Archmaesters to like destroy the Citadel's capacity to do anything. Because if you believe in the Grand Maester conspiracy, they were trying to kill off all the dragons during the Dance of the Dragons, and then afterwards, and then they eventually were trying to oust the Targaryens entirely. If you believe in the Grand Maester conspiracy, there must need to be some sort of evidence in universe. And if you're Varys and you want to make sure that Blackfire's safe, you might want to kneecap the people who took down the Targaryens before.
Ding, by the way.
I think the Grand Maester conspiracy is
given.
I think the Grand Maester conspiracy is given a little too much stock. I think Marwyn likes to talk big. Not that he can't back it up, but he's just being an absolute Chad. And then the Maesters
Marwyn is his own hype man. Yeah.
Yeah, Marwyn's his own hype man, and the Maesters just hated the Targaryens and worked against them generally. I don't think that means that there was this grand conspiracy to make the Targaryens or dragons go extinct.
He's the writer of his own press releases, Morty.
Passive resistance sort of thing, right? It was just a
yeah. I think any grand conspiracy theory, even like Grand Northern conspiracy, is a little overblown, because yes, there's conspiracies and whatever, but like argue that all these competing factions with individual and different interests are somehow working together in a way that the author or the reader is not privy to, that's just bad writing. That's not cool.
And as we've said previously on this channel, it's hard to have a conspiracy that goes past a single-digit number of people without the information getting out. What makes more sense, even for the Grand Northern conspiracy, is more like the Grand Northern hostility towards House Bolton and willingness to screw them over the second it's politically convenient, which is
That's
not
not
a
even a
conspiracy.
conspiracy. Yeah,
That's just rational behavior.
Yeah,
I mean the
this is
Boltons know
this
that.
is this is
Like-
not a conspiracy. This is just like political alignment.
It's like saying all the other NFL teams have a conspiracy to root against the Patriots.
Like, no, it just kind of happened, and it was mostly the Patriots that did it.
Yeah, yes. It was the consequences of their own actions.
Oh no, well, never mind. I'm sure you guys can get another like 3 or 4 dings in this corner in quick succession if you want to.
So Jack and Hagar has disguised himself as Pate. Jack and Hagar is present as Pate, talking to Alaris and Sam in the ending of A Feast for Crows when Marwyn shows up.
I'll give you a
Jack
ding
and
for that.
Hagar.
Pate is
Jack
killed
and
by the
Hagar has
Alchemist.
been hired to kill some Targaryen. I don't know. Or wait, maybe it has. Does it have to do with Friends in the Reach? Jack and Hagar is somehow like hired to kill like Mace Tyrell.
I hope you guys are excited for this crazy stuff.
Is there a maceless man? Is Mace Tyrell secretly
A
It's
maceless
not Big Brain
man.
Mace. It's Mace Tyrell has been dead for quite some time, and a faceless man has been pretending to be him.
Oh no, Loras dies and Loras's dad dies and suddenly he becomes a maceless man. No. I'm gonna bump you guys in a direction here.
Okay, go for it.
How is Pate killed?
He bites a coin and dies.
He falls. Yeah, he just poisoned somehow.
Quote.
He's poisoned somehow. It's very likely it was the coin he bit into.
Killed different ways in the prologue, I would add, but
Pate.
That's not relevant here.
Pate asks, "Who are you?" to the alchemist, and the alchemist replies, quote, "An alchemist. I can change iron into gold." Period. And then the coin was in his hand, dancing across his knuckles. On one side was a 3-headed dragon. On the other, the face of some dead king.
Read that very dramatically.
And we're going to put that right there.
Interesting.
I feel like I'm missing something very major.
I wonder what dead king it would be. Because they print golden dragons with the head of the current king on it, and then I don't know who else on the like silver stags and all that, but
yeah, that's interesting that his coinage is outdated because.
You ready for this? In the mystery.
It's Rebel's Gold. Maybe it's a Blackfire on the coin.
In the mystery night, Uthor looks at the coin and says to Will, "Look at this coin. You tell me whose face is on this coin." And Uthor, who can't read, says, "Who is it?" And Uthor says, "It's Rebel's Gold. It is the face of Damon Waters on that coin."
Because the houses that would have been backing the other side would have had enough time to print their own currency with their king on it.
And Tom leans forward. Tom leans forward because Zach has hit the jackpot. Zach has reached the end of the theory. Boop. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. Ding, ding, ding. Read that.
In the first Blackfire Rebellion, less than a year before that, Damon Waters was living in King's Landing.
Tom turns to camera 2. When? in the Kentucky Fried Fuck, did he have the opportunity to mint his own currency?
It's possible that the Golden Company did this.
The
as
Golden
part
Company
of, like,
wasn't a thing yet.
That's so
the
the Golden Company
the
wasn't
Golden
a thing by the time
Company,
they're looking at the Rebels' gold.
the
But
Golden
then
Company
how
was
to get
in the
there, right?
field.
How to get
with
across the narrow sea unless it came with them as part of the conspiracy. And who's gonna back a conspiracy where their money is in monopoly money, basically? There's a fun story actually.
No,
I want to
no.
talk about the American Revolution.
I
here,
am
if
at
you
the
don't mind.
dramatic. I am at the dramatic apex.
I know what you're gonna bring up. I know what you're talking about. We can move on.
I am at the dramatic apex. We can come back to that in a moment.
Okay, I'll talk about the currency situation of the American Revolution.
It's
once
mirrored
you're
by the Brotherhood without banners in the books.
Oh, because they're printing
So I think-
IOUs.
yeah, basically.
So,
yeah.
who could they possibly have gotten to print coins from them? For them?
Bravos, I guess. Bravos has plenty of money. The Iron Bank has plenty of money, and they could have taken out a loan. In fact, civil wars throughout history have taken out foreign loans and foreign investors to try and get their side like some amount of recognition and prominence, and to get a financial system away from the financial system they're rebelling against. This happened in America's own Civil War, and this happened in the Spanish Civil War as well, where they were using outside money and printing their own currencies.
So most self-proclaimed governments wanted to print their own currencies, like even like what SADR and like in Morocco and Eastern Africa or Western Africa, Western Sahara right now do that. Like
yeah, Sealand has their own currency. It's just an airstrip in the middle of the ocean.
Everybody knows Sealand's a sovereign nation. We don't have to kid ourselves there.
Yeah, we don't need to placate anybody with that. Everybody knows Sealand is legitimate.
I'm sure you guys have figured out what the end of this, what the end of the theory is. And then I was proposing a toast, not a rebellion. And this is Molander and Armin in the prologue to A Feast for Crows, which is my favorite, maybe my favorite chapter in the series. It's top 5 for sure. I love it. Here's to her. Our rightful queen deserves another round. You should not say such things, even in jest. And they said, don't piss your britches. I was proposing a toast, not a rebellion.
Who's the rightful queen in this context?
In this context, that is Daenerys.
They're talking about Dany because this is Old Town stuff.
Yeah. But I am asserting that this is lampshading that there are other rebellions happening in the chapter at that time. I assert that coin, because it's the face of some dead king. It's not the face of King Jaehaerys, right? It's not the face of Robert Baratheon. It is the face of some dead king. In a scene that mirrors this scene from the Dunk and Egg novella, I think quite attractively. I find it very interesting that these things share some parallels. I assert that is one of the Blackfire pieces of gold, because it is really weird. I should say, furthermore, it is really weird that the first Blackfire rebellion had coinage at all, since they spent most of the rebellion in the field. They spent most of the rebellion at war.
They spent 100% of the rebellion losing.
Yes.
Yeah.
When did they have time to print coinage? I assert
somebody else did it for them.
I assert that the Iron Bank was printing it for them then, in an effort to sow discourse between parts of the Targaryen family. I assert that they are still doing the same thing now, carrying on the mission that they have been working on for so long to take out the last of the Dragon Lords. Yeah.
Really interesting idea. And there's a bunch of way better and way lamer explanations that we can just ignore for the purposes of
we
making cool theories.
We don't need to talk about those.
No, yeah, like there's more logical explanations for who the Friends of the Reach are, but the idea that like the Faceless Men hate, like, of course they hate the Dragon Lords, but like, you know, the Faceless Men come from a society that's created from freed slaves of Valyria. Of course, the last Valyrians in charge of anything are on their to kill list. It's tradition. So the idea of Faceless Men getting involved in Targaryen disputes is not insane whatsoever. It's not like the most logical leap, but they have, and this gets mentioned in Fire and Blood too, where they go to treat with Bravos, and there's like well, we could just, you know, take you all out with the Faceless Men. They'd be jumping at the opportunity, and that's entirely possible.
And what really, and I know that there is we're making a couple of leaps here, but what started me on this path is these two things that I've just highlighted. These, when I look at them side by side, it looks weird, right? Damon Waters printed his own coinage, and then there is a coin that there's a mysterious coin that kills a character that appears to have that appears to be at the very least similar in set dressing to another coin we see in another scene, right? This one here.
Yeah. I should note that we don't get the impression that Pate is exceptionally smart and well read, because he's very bad at being a maester.
You're right. Pate is dumb is a crux of another theory of mine.
But correct. And it could just be that Pate, having like only being 19 or 18 years old, only probably knows the faces of, I don't know, 1 to 2 kings, because I don't know, he was born the same year as, it was the year of the Fall Spring probably, or the year after, right around the same time that Robert's Rebellion was being set up. He might only know the head of, like, on a coin of Robert, Joffrey, and Tommen.
Counterpoint. My man has been studying at the Citadel for 5 years.
That's true. That would be like saying that I wouldn't recognize George Washington and Abraham Lincoln on dollar bills because I was born in the Clinton administration.
Fair enough, yeah.
That's actually a very reasonable comparison, I think.
Like, there's definitely some kings that would be more like notable with their head, like if they are like prominently displayed in art and like sculptures and stuff in Old Town, like he probably recognizes, I don't know, Jaehaerys the Conciliator probably has a very recognizable coin. But it could very well be just like, I don't know, Viserys II or something.
Also, my man can read.
That's true.
And like this coin is something he has been like emptying his heart for, betraying his vows for. He looks at the coin and doesn't recognize he doesn't like read the name on the coin. I think that's lampshading, that there's something weird about this coin.
That's entirely possible.
Maybe it's not the fact that it is another coin, that it is another hidden through line item from this particular story that I happen to really like. Maybe that's not it.
Maybe not.
But I think, but it is weird.
It is weird, and it's a neat possibility that there's some Blackfire reports still residual in Old Town, or that the Faceless Men are involved.
I think it kind of tracks.
Yeah.
I think it kind of tracks. What do we think here, guys? Closing thoughts. What do we got?
think it's crazy.
I also think it's a little crazy, but I can't come up with a reason why it's not true other than there's better explanations. And there's better explanations has never been a solid thing to stand on in a Song of Ice and Fire before.
Yeah, that's never stopped us
True.
before.
Yeah,
It's never
it's never
stopped
us
anyone.
before, nor has it ever stopped George R. R. Martin before. So
Thank you guys very much for joining me. I would love it if everyone watching would go and subscribe to Captain Time. We're trying to get him
Yeah.
to 1,000 subscribers because he deserves it.
yeah, Captain Time should be at 1,000 subscribers. Everybody go over to his channel and help out. We would really appreciate it.
Everybody go and leave a comment on his videos that says "Gold for Iron, the Nightingale squawked."
That'll be funny. That'll boost
read-
engagement.
Go read the Ouroboros cycle.
And then,
Yeah,
Go read the SCP wiki if you haven't. There's some good stuff on there. Maybe you'll even
There's some
read one
really
of my
bad
articles
stuff on there
accident.
too, but
everyone,
Yeah, I've got several articles on there. I've got some popular ones too. I just I'm not nearly as prolific of a writer, and I haven't written in a while. It's been almost a year since my last article.
wait. I'm very prolific. Goodbye.